Hey everyone, Coach Arrow here with Team FNRGFE. I just wanted to do a quick freecast video about the current state of Mercy and some of my feedback, as well as areas that you can either exploit or do well with Mercy. So let's get started. The first, the big changes to Mercy obviously are the res moving to E, as well as her ult being completely different now. Resurrection as an ability is extremely hard to balance in any competitive game. It's my personal preference that res probably shouldn't be in the game. However, at this point, it's not really feasible for it to be removed. So, with that said, I like to just treat it as a counter to a pick hero, just like a Zarya bubble can counter an Ananade. Res can counter a Widow headshot. Now, as far as the res cooldown, 30 seconds, I think that's fine. I think the current issue with Mercy right now, the thing that needs to be balanced, is her ult. So the changes to her ult now, it's now called Valkyrie, and basically it just increases all of the basic abilities that Mercy has. So to start, her primary and secondary fire with her beam, the healing on the beam, I think is interesting. It makes Mercy have a defensive cooldown. That's kind of interesting, as well as it can also be doubled as an offensive cooldown. I really like that. Mercy, I think that there's not enough defensive cooldowns in the game. Currently, you're just stuck with basically Lucio and Zen. So adding, the healing or damage boost, I think alone is almost good enough for Mercy's ultimate. It gives her the ability to fly, which I like. I think that's perfectly fine. The Guardian Angel, so it makes her fly faster and has a lot shorter cooldown. I think that the cooldown's good. The speed at which she goes to a teammate is pretty fast, and given that she already has the ability to fly now in her ultimate, I don't think that's necessary. And then lastly, the res. Now, I like that it reduces the cooldown to 10 seconds. What I don't like is that it instantly refreshes your res. And you have to think about the amount of resurrections you can get in the window of the other ultimate. As of right now, you can get 4 total resurrections in that time. So you can res, ult, res, wait 10 seconds, res, wait 10 seconds, res. So I think removing the reset of the ultimate is something that could be looked at. Maybe just setting it down to 5 seconds or reducing it by half. A full reset on it, I think, is a little unbalanced, kind of unfun in competitive play. So all of those combined together make her ultimate really strong. So with some tuning, I think she could be in a really good state. Now, to talk about areas that you can really exploit a bad Mercy is largely now in the time that she's going for a resurrect. So a lot of times in solo queue, you'll see someone overextending. Mercy will fly in and try to res them. That's pretty much your window. You want to catch her with a hook or a flashbang, or if you have to, a grav or even a hack, something like that, to stop her when she's going for that res. And alternatively, the Mercies that are doing that, you want to be super careful about your positioning because you are so vulnerable during that res. Now, right now, some can argue that if she goes in, ults, and then flies out, it's not that much of a risk. You really have a tiny window that you can CC her. So that's why I think, with some tuning on the res, as long as she can't get a second res, that definitely has some potential there. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Mercy. Actually, and so the second, the other thing that another thing you can do if you're trying to be a really strong Mercy in solo queue is think about the quality of resurrections that you're giving. So there's 2 types of res that you generally want to do. Either A, you want to resurrect a target that has high value. So someone like a Roadhog, a Reinhardt, a Winston. If you just think about health pools, that's really good. Even someone like a Reaper or a Doomfist, So they innately have higher value of reses because you're bringing back more of a health pool. Of all the heroes that you can res right now, I think the highest value in terms of just hero, not including anything about personal play, just the hero, I think the highest value res is the Roadhog. Now, the second part of that is the ability of your teammates. So you can resurrect someone who is pretty clearly carrying your team. That's also something that you can do. So you have to think about both of those things when you res. Make sure that you don't overextend when you res. Don't waste your res. And because if the enemy's tracking your res, they know that they have a 30-second window where you don't have it. So make sure you have good quality reses right now, and Mercy can be really strong.